Hello, come on in and welcome. We are starting a few minutes early so that we can get some tea, dive on in together. Come on in, come on in. Hello, come on in, say hi. I want to see hi. Hello, hi. Hi. Welcome, Bridget. Little Miss Christine. Hello, hi. Come on in. Just I want to check that you can hear me and you can see me before we dive on in here today. I can't see the stream right now, so I want to make sure that you can and that you can hear me. Who else have we got coming on board? Raquel, I think it's pronounced. Hello, welcome. Beautiful to have you here. So what I want to do today is Foxy Girl, hello, welcome. What I'm going to talk to you today about, in fact, I'm going to do a bunch of live streams over the next couple of weeks and love having you here live. But if you are listening to it on the recording, the information is just as valid and you can still put your comments below, okay? So I want to see your comments below. So why don't we dive on in? So today I want to talk to you about this important topic, which is how to be successful while not compromising your feminine energy. So, this is for you if you want to know how to be really successful and not compromise your feminine energy. And this isn't for you if you've already mastered the feminine arts and skills, or you're okay with being quite masculine. So I just wanted to be straight up front. This is not your thing if that's something that's already, your decision there, okay? I'm also today going to talk to you about the huge shift that I had to make after I totally burned out and lost everything. And I'm going to talk about the number one mistake that women make when seeking to become more feminine, okay? And what you need to do to find new ways of being that will be both sustainable and get you really juicy again. So if that sounds good to you, give me a thumbs up, say, yeah, I'm on board. This sounds good to me. I'm in the right place. Just let me know that I'm talking to the right people right now. I know that I get a bit of a delay here, so just give me a thumbs up, give me a hello, say hi on the stream, comment below. If you have questions either throughout or after the stream, I will come back in here and answer them, okay? I'm very, very active inside of the Facebook group and inside of my YouTube channel. All right, so let's dive on in if we could, because I have got a timer on myself today because I could talk to you for not just hours, but days on this topic. So I want to just get some pieces in place today so that you're really clear on what you need to do to move forward, okay? So let's start with this. And I don't know how much you know about me, so I feel like so that you can sort of trust me and know that I know what I'm talking about. If it's okay with you, I just want to tell you a little bit about my story, my background. So I started as a corporate woman in Australia. I was corporate for the first 12 years of my career. I was a commercial interior designer, as it happens. So I designed those big office spaces, so the interiors of the big commercial offices. That was my particular niche, if you like, as a designer. I was a very successful designer. I was an expert in what's called computer-aided design at the time, which was pretty rare when everybody was still really happily drawing on their drawing boards. I was a CAD specialist. And then I had this sort of bug in my ear about, I wanted my freedom and I wanted to be able to do my own thing in my own time. And I was actually really happy with the concept of getting paid really well when I worked and then choosing when I had my time off. And that meant becoming a consultant. So I transitioned from corporate to consulting and did exactly that. And then I think, this is now 25 years ago. And then I got the bug for being an entrepreneur. I had the entrepreneurial spirit, and for the last 25 odd years, I have been an entrepreneur. I've never worked for anybody else but myself for the last 25 years. I've run five very successful companies, and each of them have ranged in the order of sort of $250,000 to $1 million of annual earnings. Not straight up, by the way. That's another whole conversation. That doesn't happen overnight. But I've been very successful as an entrepreneur. However, it wasn't really always that way for me. Basically, what happened at the end of my 30s, early 40s, a bit of a perfect storm, if you like, happened, a confluence of events where I was starting to burn out. I didn't have the language at the time for a lot of the things I know now, right? So I was starting to get exhausted. I was starting a new company, a product-based tea company, which is why I'm a tea nerd, partly. Still, I'm a tea nerd. My relationship was breaking up. We were struggling financially, as in we were keeping the company alive, and it's still alive to this day. But there were a lot of stressors on me. And then I had another couple of things happen where my BMW got stolen. It was literally like the universe was saying, you're going down, sister. And I did. I went down hard. To cut a long story short, I ended up completely bankrupt with no relationship. My energy was completely burnt out. Like there was nothing else to tap into. And so I was broke, I was alone, and I didn't know if I had the energy, the desire, the power to move ahead, frankly, in life, let alone starting another company. And I was not in a position to be in a relationship either. So it was a really big down point for me. I was down deep, right? So look, having a very ardent and long-term spiritual practice, I actually went into full-time meditation practice for 2 years, as it happens. My community took me in and I did long-term practice. And, honestly, what happened in the middle of that practice was I had this very deep, limpid realization from deep inside me that all of that success, all of that pushing and striving and all that, I'm going to put air quotes here, success, had come from this really, really masculine part of myself. And I don't think I really had the language or understood, frankly, what masculine, feminine meant. But I just knew inside me that that's how I had done the success. And in fact, that's the only way I knew how to be successful at that point. So the other big realization I had in that moment was, wow, I love the creative process of creating a company, an idea, manifesting something out of nothing. It was something I loved doing and I was very, very good at. I just had to find another way to do it. And I knew also deep inside me that, I had this long-term spiritual practice, but I wasn't really applying spiritual principles or feminine principles to my work life and to my business. And I didn't know why. And so I went through a whole process where I realized, wow, this is what I'm going to do. I want to create a new company. And I realized that basically my big passion was going to be to show you how to become powerfully feminine. And that's what I did. So basically I started a new company on this principle of how to be successful, and actually, little whisper here, more successful, more sustainable, more joyful way of doing your life, work, and relationships from your feminine polarity, your feminine side, your feminine power and energy. And so I have been applying these things. I went into massive research. I have read everything from ancient Taoism and ancient Hindu texts all the way to whatever now is current modern readings about this. And I've basically discovered what I call now the feminine arts formula, which are these 5 core feminine arts and skills that you need to know to create this foundation of your feminine side and your feminine power. And so this is my great joy to pass this information to you. This is what my communities are for. This is what I'm here to do to serve you, okay? So the big shift I basically had there in answer to that first question is I realized I was dominant in the masculine and I'd all but sort of atrophied my feminine side. I often use this metaphor when talking about this, that it's like I'd been in the gym, the gymnasium for 25 years. And I'd just been doing arm curls with one arm, in this metaphor, this right arm. And that arm had become like this big, strong arm, right? And so under stress, under pressure, and in fact, it's like I only thought I had one arm, right? So I'd always go to this arm to do things with, right? And so what happened when I had that realization is I went, oh, wow, look at this. I've got a left arm. But I looked at it and it was weak and it was gimpy and it didn't have any strength to it. So I wasn't going to turn to that part of myself to do life, work, and relationships because it was weak, right? So what I realized is I had to train this other part of myself, or I had to train myself to turn to this part of myself in a different way. And the thing is that I've learned myself through the process is the strengthening, if you like, of this feminine arm, this feminine side, is not going to be pulling weights like we did with the masculine arm. It's a totally different world order. It's a totally different way of doing life, doing your work, doing your relationships. It's different arts and skills. And as women, if you're anything like me, I had to relearn these because I had zero, no role models. 20 years ago, I can tell you there were no role models out there to show you how to be feminine, and especially to apply it to your success. Okay, so the number one mistake women make when seeking to be more feminine is this, is that you are largely stuck in what I call man mode. Man mode, being too masculine. As per my story, my experience, I have walked this path, my dear. I know it intimately. And I was stuck in man mode 98% of the time back then. I was extremely masculine. I was in man mode. And so when you're stuck in man mode, you're running a lot of masculine energy a lot of the time. So it's like being 90% masculine, maybe a touch feminine, or 80 masculine, 20 feminine. Look, this is why I said this is not for you what I'm talking about. If you're cool with that, that's fine with you. That's fine with me. This is just not the work I teach. I show women how to become more feminine, and in fact, how to fluidly move between the masculine and the feminine, because I'm a lover of the masculine, whether it's in a man or I've got a really strong masculine. But what I wanted to be able to do was have this flexibility of consciousness so that I could move into my feminine whenever I want to. Excuse me. Okay, so one of the mistakes there is that women don't even know how to recognize at first how much masculine energy they're running at any moment. Now, I don't know right now if you can do this as an exercise, is just feel into yourself and get a sense of what percentage masculine and what percentage feminine you're running right now. Now, for some of you, that might be really easy, and for some, it might be, I don't even know how to tell that. Because I can tell you in the future episode, I'm going to do another 3 live streams in this next couple of weeks. I'm going to talk about a totally new model of masculine and feminine that you need to know about in order to be able to determine how much masculine and feminine you're in. Because if there's one big realization I had, is there is a boatload of confusion out there about what the heck masculine and feminine means. And I'm going to tell you about that in a future episode because I want to stay focused here today. I'm more than happy to pass it to you. It's just, there's a world of confusion out there, and I think you can agree with me on that. Okay. Oh, let's take a little breath. I want to make sure that I am heading you in the right direction here. Okay. So I said that I was going to tell you what you need to know to find new ways of being that will be both sustainable and get you juicy again. So I think one of the preconceptions we have is that success is conflated with masculine, right? Success, to be successful, to experience success, we can only do it from the masculine part of ourselves. And you may have never thought about that, but I certainly believed that. Now, the other thing I believed was, and this is just me being really transparent here, but especially when I was corporate, I was running my own businesses, I judged the feminine. Yeah. I judged the feminine as weak and submissive, ineffective. I did not think that feminine things were things I identified with. I also identified the feminine with being pretty inactive or willless. I know, I'm just being very transparent here, okay? Now, the truth is, that's what's called the false feminine. I'm going to talk to you about that in a future episode, but I judged it. And partly, by the way, because I had no, as in zip, zero, no feminine role models in my life. My mother definitely wasn't one. I didn't have it in the corporate world. In fact, I had bullbuster women directing me. So that was another example where there's a lot of women out there who might be teachers or mentors or coaches, but they're running a lot of masculine energy. And that's not going to help you if being more feminine is what you say that you're wanting to be. And if you're wanting to apply your feminine to your life, work, and relationships, right? So watch out for the women that have wholeheartedly digested the I'm cool with being masculine piece, because they're not going to help you in the feminine piece. So I had no role models. So I conflated success with masculine because everything about the world around me said, well, that's how you get ahead. That's how you be independent. That's how you cope, right? And the truth is, if you scratch the surface with me, at least, I was just coping. I was a very successful coper, right? So what you need to do to become sustainable and juicy again is you need to get around either communities or find a coach or mentor who displays and has mastered the feminine arts and skills. Somebody who is applying it to their life, their work, their relationships, and has mastered it themselves. So that's up to you. You know, I'm really big on people finding their person and their community. I'm not the person for everybody. I get that. But I really implore that you find the person that you feel this person is going to show me systematically how to get back into my feminine side, into my feminine energy, my feminine radiance and juiciness. Like, feel who that person is for you and follow them to the ends of the earth, because they are going to save you a boatload of time, money, energy, and abundance, right? So I know that time is one of my most precious assets, and I'm guessing that you don't want to waste time anymore. If this is something that you're really hungry for and really ready for, find your person who's going to show you how. So you want to find somebody who's mastered the feminine arts and skills. And I'm going to be talking to you a bit more about this in the next episode. And I'm watching my time here, and I'm at my time right now. So I want to invite you one thing. I want to invite you to my Facebook group. The reason is the conversation is going to continue inside the Facebook group, and I'm going to be able to engage you in a much more intimate and direct way there. You're going to go to #SmartSavvySexy, and I'm going to say it in American for the Americans here, Smart Savvy Sexy. And you'll find us there, and please join us there. I'd love to continue the conversation. And otherwise, I'm going to see if you have any questions live now. Hello. Beautiful. If you have questions, please type either in the chat box or in the description box. Sorry, it's not called the comments box below. And I'm happy to answer questions on this topic today. Somebody here saying, I actually need more masculine energy. I have no self-confidence to follow my dreams. Well, CJ, I'm going to counter that, because the truth is you're talking about will and willpower here, and you're also conflating willpower with the masculine. Now, I'm here to be able to show you and tell you that you can be as or more successful by applying feminine willpower to your projects, learning how to take action, learning how to do things in a feminine way that, frankly, in my own personal experience, is way more sustainable. One of the things that happened for me in my story that I said before, I burnt out. Doing it from the masculine was not sustainable. I am here as the prophetess of the future to tell you it is not sustainable to just push and strive and keep going in that way. It is not good for you, my dear. I'm only answering questions on the topic today, so if you're asking me other questions, this is not the topic of discussion today. Jasmine, hello. You ask a question, do you have feminine energy tips on starting a new career from being a stay-at-home mum to special needs child? Well, it's about finding your passion there. You see, one of the big things I teach in the 5 core feminine arts is the art of desire. And Jasmine, you need to understand what it is that you really want and how to really plug in deeply and find what I call your deep dive desires. Because if you don't really know what you want, you're not going to be plugged into the energy source from which to find what you want. And this is why understanding desire is one of the 5 core feminine arts, actually, and I'm happy to talk about that in a future time.